Last week, we talked about the universal call to holiness, our call to become saints, to make it to heaven and live forever with God. I think sometimes we think negatively and we say, oh, I'll never be a saint, oh, I can't be a saint. And we either doubt ourselves or we don't want to try, or sometimes I think we're afraid of what that might actually mean. One thing I often hear from students like you is that you're too young to make a difference. Well, I am here to remind you that your age does not take away from the impact that you can make. And in fact, I think your age could even cause a greater impact. You could be models of holiness for a world that needs a wake-up call to what that even means. You could set the trend. God uses people of all ages to spread his message of love. But do you realize how many great messengers were young just like you? David was the youngest of Jesse's sons, who was chosen as a young shepherd boy to be king. Daniel was a young man who showed great courage through prayer. When God called Jeremiah, he said, oh, Lord, I'm too young to make a difference. And God responded by saying, hey, don't say that. I'm going to be with you all along the way. We move to the New Testament. We see Mary, who was chosen as a 14-year-old to carry the Son of God in her womb. One of St. Paul's closest friends and disciples was Timothy, and St. Paul told him, let no one despise your youth, but set an example for believers in speech, conduct, love, faith, and purity. Okay, Mrs. Grimm, that was a long time ago. Those young people didn't live like us. They didn't have what we have. All right, so let me tell you about a young man from Italy named Carlo Acutis. He was born in 1991, and he came from a well-off family, but they didn't really make God a priority in their life. But Carlo loved God, and he worked every day to live a holy life. He loved modern things just like you, video games, especially Super Mario Brothers. He loved soccer, technology. He was a brilliant computer programmer. He attended a Jesuit high school, hey, just like you. But he also knew that those things could draw him away from others and from God, so he limited his time with them. He made time for relationships, and he made time for God and prayer. Do you remember those 3 pieces of advice I gave you last week about growing in holiness? Well, let's look at Carlo's life. He truly lived out his faith. He loved receiving the sacraments. He knew he would get strength from those. He would spend a lot of time before Jesus in the Eucharist at adoration. He would go to confession often. He had a special devotion to Mary and prayed the rosary often. He would choose love whenever he could. He saw homeless people on the side of the road, and he would save up his money to buy them sleeping bags so they would be warm at night. He defended the kids at school that would get bullied. He one time got extra change when he was at the store, and he turned around and went back to give it back because he felt bad about keeping the hard-earned money of the store owner. And finally, he kept God at the center of everything. He used his computer talents to make a website with all the Eucharistic miracles of the world, which still exist today. He showed how technology and the internet could be used for good. He truly believed that you don't have to do anything extraordinary to be holy, but you just have to do simple acts with big, extraordinary love. Carlo was diagnosed with leukemia at age 14, and instead of complaining about the fact that he knew he was going to die young, he offered his pain and suffering to God. He knew that in good or bad, we were all still called to be holy, and that you can live a full and happy life as long as you keep God in it. Because in the end, all that really matters is that we reach that goal of eternal happiness and life with God. Where can I love more today? What's one thing I know I should stop doing that's pulling me away from God? What's one habit or prayer I can start to grow closer to God? Let no one despise your youth, but set an example for believers in speech, conduct, love, faith, and purity.